Hey, I hope you're all doing alright. I'm gonna talk just a little bit in this devotional about swapping fear for faith and how we can do that by immersing ourselves in God's Word. The main verse that we're going to be using is Psalm 1 verse 2, and it says, "But they delight in the law of the Lord, meditating on it day and night." Now, as I'm making this devotional, we are all currently still in lockdown, and that means that there is the potential for a large amount of fear, many things that we could be worried about, whether that's fear of catching COVID-19 itself, or worries about school or exams, or worries about loved ones and friends. There's a lot that we could potentially be fearful about, and often our fears are made worse by all the negative news that's going around, whether that's through different forms of media, whether that's through different conversations that we have. All the negative thoughts that can fill our mind can really just help to compound our fear. But this verse shows that there's a way that we can control almost our thoughts, a way that we can pay attention to them, and instead of having all these negative thoughts and ideas in our mind, we can focus on God's Word and fill up our mind and thoughts with God's Word. I personally find that listening to worship music is a great way to do that, focusing on the words that are being sung about how amazing and how great God is. I find that they can be really uplifting. And I find reading the Bible can be incredibly encouraging as well, having certain verses that I can always turn to when I'm struggling with something, so that they can always sort of lift me up. And I find praying is an incredibly encouraging thing as well, to know that you can speak and God is listening to you and He's hearing what you're saying. So these are just some of the ways that I find that I can sort of fill my thoughts as such with what God's saying, and fill them with God's Word. And they help to me to not focus on the negative thoughts and to focus on the positives. Now, this doesn't mean that everything is going to be okay, that as soon as you finish praying, as soon as you finish reading God's Word, that we're going to be instantly out of isolation, for example, that everything is just going to be instantly better. It doesn't mean that. That's not what this verse is saying. But what it is saying is that we can take control of these negative thoughts that are in our mind, and take control of fear, saying that by reading God's Word and thinking about what God says, we're able to be less fearful, we're able to worry less, and by thinking about what God says, we're able to swap our fear for faith.